Citations number 78 and 79 is Des Plaines PD Case Files CID Continuation Report 7835203, pages 3, 4, and 5. And on this dump, this is 5 of 6, and it's pages 9, 10, and 11. Here, associate and more than likely accomplice of Gacy, Michael Rossi, has been interviewed by police, and this is the report on such. I'm going to start with this last paragraph on 9. Mike Rossi began to talk about his automobile, and he was asked where he had gotten the automobile. He said that he bought his 1971 Plymouth Satellite from a friend of John Gacy's, who was named Zick. Mr. Rossi spelled Mr. Zick's name. In summary, Rossi said that Mr. Gacy had told him that a friend was selling his car, and that if Rossi was interested in it, he could purchase this vehicle. On one morning, Rossi advised that Mr. Gacy called him to say that he had gotten the car keys from the owner, and together Rossi and Gacy went to the area of Clark Street and Ohio Street, where they found the vehicle parked on the street. Mr. Gacy gave the keys to Mr. Rossi, and Mr. Rossi drove the vehicle around to test it. Gacy told Mr. Rossi that if he was not interested in purchasing that vehicle, he, Gacy, would sell it to somebody else. After driving the vehicle, Rossi decided to buy it for $300. Rossi advised that Mr. Gacy informed him that he had paid the owner $300, therefore he, Rossi, owed $300 to Gacy. Rossi advised that he had paid Mr. Gacy back at the rate of approximately $50 per week. Rossi went on to say that Mr. Gacy first got the title in both Gacy's name and Rossi's name. When the car was paid off, Mr. Gacy gave the title to Mr. Rossi. Rossi stated that after purchasing the vehicle, Gacy would not let him drive it until $200 of the $300 was paid to Mr. Gacy. The truck was parked in Mr. Gacy's driveway near the rear garage. After Rossi got the title, he then purchased his own plates. Mr. Rossi was asked if Mr. Gacy ever told him why the owner was selling the vehicle, and Rossi stated that Mr. Gacy told him the former owner was moving to California and he didn't want the car. Michael Rossi was asked if he had ever been arrested, and he stated that he had been arrested for a traffic offense. He stated that he was involved in an incident where he tried to run away from the police. He was caught and placed on probation. He further advised that he was involved in a theft of gasoline in the winter of 1977 to 1978. He stated that he pulled into a gas station with his Plymouth Satellite, and he presumably filling up or filled up. He left the station without paying for the gasoline. He stated that prior to pulling into the station, he had put on the license plates, which were owned by the former owner of the car, and which were on the car when he purchased it. He stated that he had his own plates, but he put these other plates on the vehicle so that his could not be traced. He stated, however, that he was not smart enough. That the police officers traced the plates to the Zick family, and the Zick family told the police that the vehicle was missing. They apparently then checked the title and traced the title to Mr. Gacy, who informed the police that Mr. Rossi had the vehicle. Mr. Gacy picked up Mr. Rossi and transported him to the police station, where this matter was resolved. The police officer told Rossi to get rid of the former owner's plates, which Mr. Rossi said that he did do. Rossi was asked if he had learned anything about Mr. Gacy during that period of time that he lived with him. Rossi advised that he had found that John Gacy is a lonely person, that he works very hard, that he likes to clown, and that he enjoys going to moose. When Rossi first moved in with Mr. Gacy asked him if he was liberal-minded. Reporting officer asked Mr. Rossi what he meant by that, and Mr. Rossi stated Mr. Gacy meant did he like boys as well as girls. Rossi told him he was not interested in guys, and he was not bothered by Mr. Gacy after that. Rossi was asked if he knew if Gacy had ever been arrested, and he stated that Mr. Gacy had spent some time in jail for gambling and prostitution. He went on to say that Mr. Gacy's father had died while John Gacy was in prison, and John Gacy apparently did not find out until a month after his father had passed away. He appeared to be quite angry about that. On December 17, 1978, at approximately 1900 hours, reporting officer Pickell had some additional conversation with Mr. Rossi. Mr. Rossi advised that he remembered another former employee of PDM Construction named Don Bacon, age around mid-20s. He worked for PDM in the summer of 1977, and at present he was with Pharmaceutical Environments, a company that Mr. Gacy does work for. He also remembered two other friends of his that had worked for PDM. One, Chris LaCour, age 20. Rossi advised that his friend Chris LaCour told him that John Gacy offered $100 to Chris LaCour if Chris would let Mr. Gacy, it's presumably below him. Rossi was referring to oral copulation. LaCour worked at PDM Construction during the summer of 1977. A second friend of Mr. Rossi's, Jerry Caldwell, age 20, also worked at PDM during the summer of 1977. Mike Rossi further advised reporting officer Pickell that during the summer of 1978, shortly after he was working for PDM Construction, 76 or 78, he had found a wallet in Mr. Gacy's garage and some cabinets in the smaller part of the garage. One of the wallets contained a California driver's license as well as other California IDs. It also contained pictures of girls. He believed that the age on the California driver's license of the registered driver was 24. He stated that he found another wallet in the same area. The second wallet was brown in color and it too contained some pieces of identification. He thought that it might have contained an Illinois driver's license, with possibly the age of the registered driver being under 21, because the license was similar to those issued to drivers under 21. Mike Rossi finally advised that these wallets had also been found by David Cram. Citations 80, 81, and 82 are from the same Des Plaines PD case files, CID continuation report 7835203. This is from the 5 of 6 dump. We're going to jump around a little bit here, but we're going to start here on page 14 of the report. Right here, police are now interviewing associate and likely accomplice David Cram. And there's something very notable here. When there's no preface to who's talking, it's the police talking. Is there anything in your knowledge about Mr. Gacy that would cause you to believe that something similar to this might have happened before? Well, he is a bit of a bragger, so on and so forth, and he lives in a fantasy world, I believe. Now, how much is fact and how much is fiction, that's left up to the individual to decide. But he claims that he does work for a syndicate, and so on and so forth, I'm going to skip down here. Have you ever found anything suspicious around his home or property? Well, okay, he's had a couple of wallets in the garage, with identification in it. The identification was a driver's license, library card, military ID for maybe the Army Reserve or something like that. That was a little while back. School ID, college ID. I believe it was from DeVry Tech. I believe that's where it was from. DeVry Tech School ID. Do you recall any names on this identification? I can't think of the names, no. Now, how many wallets did you find? About 3. Where were they? They were in the cabinet, garage, and the storage, where he keeps his nails and keeps his office supplies and just little junk, more or less. How long ago did you see these wallets? About 6 months after I was working with him. Did you mention finding these wallets to Mr. Gacy? Yeah, I asked him if he could use the ID. He said I was underage, so on and so forth, and to go out with a couple of my older partners, to go drinking. He said, no, you don't want those. Did he say why? He said because they were some people that were deceased. Would you repeat that? Deceased, no longer living. We're going to skip here a little bit. So that was 14 to 15. We're going to go back up to number 9. Okay. Did he walk through the house? Yes, he did. Where did he go? Crawl space. Down under the house? Yes. Did you see him go down there? Yes, I did. When he went down there, what did he do while he was down there? Okay, he seen the mud on the floor, complained about that. Went into the crawl space with a flashlight, and the lights were on also. Went down in there, walked about, didn't ever take a full step. He just went around in a complete circle and came back out. Did he walk around at all down there? No, he went down in the crawl space, crouched down, because there's not much clearance to stand up under there. He went in a complete circle. All he did was check it out and then come back into the house. And this is page 9. Citations 83 and 84 are actually identical to passages we've read earlier. These are going to be total repeats, but just for emphasis again. So this is from the Des Plaines PD case files, CID continuation report 7835203. And for 83, we just want to bring emphasis and focus back to the fact that it is recorded here that Michael Rossi was in possession of the vehicle belonging to John Zick. So this is from page 3 of this report, and it's this last paragraph here. Mike Rossi began to talk about his automobile, and he was asked where he had gotten the automobile. He said that he bought his '71 Plymouth Satellite from a friend of John Gacy's who was named Zick. For 84, we're going to skip down to page 5 of this report. And this is a repeat again, but the emphasis here is that Michael Rossi here refers to the same discovery of the driver's licenses belonging to deceased people that David Cram also mentions in his own interview with police. One of the wallets contained a California. Well, start a little earlier here. Let's start right here with Mike Rossi. Mike Rossi further advised reporting officer Piquel that during the summer of 1976, shortly after he began working for PDM Construction, he had found a wallet in Mr. Gacy's garage and some cabinets in the smaller part of the garage. One of the wallets contained a California driver's license as well as other California IDs. It also contained pictures of girls. He believed that the age on the California driver's license of the registered driver was 24. He stated that he found another wallet in the same area. The second wallet was brown in color, and it too contained some pieces of identification. He thought it might have contained an Illinois driver's license, with possibly the age of the registered driver being under 21, because the license was similar to those issued to drivers under 21. Mike Rossi finally advised that these wallets had also been found by David Cram. So just further emphasis for both of those accounts, as well as the emphasis on the being in possession of John Zick's automobile. Citation 85 is Des Plaines PD Case Files Supplementary Report, December 18th, 1978. And this is page 1 of that report. The following report reflects my activities in a follow-up investigation of the missing person report of the above-mentioned subject. On December 17th, 1978, at approximately 1,000 hours, I was advised by Lieutenant Kozensak that the name of another individual who might possibly be missing had been brought up by the ex-wife of John Gacy. This individual was allegedly to have had ties with Gacy by having been friends with him and having worked for the corporation PDM. The name given was John Bukovich, who was approximately 17 years of age in 1972. That would make him approximately 23 years of age at the present time. I took the telephone directory from Chicago and attempted to find someone by that name. However, the only one I came up with was Joseph Bukovich of Redacted. I contacted these people, and they indicated they do not have any missing people in their family, nor was there anyone by the name of John in their family. I then called 744-6222, the Missing Person Bureau, City of Chicago. Officer Frazier checked and advised that he had a negative for a missing person in 1972 by that name. At approximately 11:30 hours, Missing Persons Bureau called back, and Officer Frazier indicated that in 1975 they had one by the name of John Bukovich, who had been missing since July 21st, 1975, who was a white male, 18 years of age, last known address redacted. Joseph R. Kozenczak, Des Plaines detective chief on the Gacy serial slayer case, dead at 75. The Chicago Sun-Times, June 25th, 2016. Mr. Kozenczak wrote of the electrifying moment in his book. "Wait 1 minute," I suddenly said, and, jumping up, bolted down the hall to the polygraph room. There, in a clear plastic bag, shining like a piece of gold, was the bright red receipt I had plucked out of John Gacy's garbage bag. This was the first and only piece of evidence we had showing that the Peace Boy had even been in the house on Summerdale. I felt as if I had just dropped a noose around the burly contractor's neck. Citation 86. New podcast on serial killer John Wayne Gacy raises questions about police investigation. Chicago Sun-Times, July 26, 2021. Gacy's defense attorneys, who worked on an unsuccessful insanity defense, were Sam Amarante and Robert Mata. Mata's son, Bob, is also an attorney and is the host of the podcast Defense Diaries, which has been examining the Gacy investigation. In episode 8 of the ongoing podcast, Mata unveiled an admission by 3 retired Des Plaines police officers and a former Cook County evidence technician that key pieces of evidence that led to the second search warrant, which resulted in Gacy's arrest, may have been fudged. At the time, police were looking for information about 15-year-old Robert Piest. On December 11, 1978, Piest was being picked up by his mother from his job at a pharmacy in Des Plaines when he told her that a contractor wanted to talk to him about a job. It was the last time Piest was seen alive. Ultimately, the search ended up at Gacy's home on Summerdale Avenue in Norwood Park, the day after Piest went missing. Gacy invited police in and told them he was at the Des Plaines drugstore, but did not remember talking to Piest, said Bob Egan in a 2018 ABC report. Egan was a Cook County prosecutor in 1978. The next day, police returned with a warrant to search Gacy's home, where they found handcuffs, fake badges, and a photo receipt from the pharmacy where Piest worked that belonged to his girlfriend. However, it wasn't enough probable cause for an arrest, so police began a 24/7 surveillance operation. During the surveillance operation, Gacy invited 2 of the detectives keeping watch into his home, and one of them claimed to have smelled decomposing bodies when the furnace kicked on while he was using a bathroom. The smell and the photo receipt turned out to be the 2 biggest pieces of evidence that led to a second search warrant being issued, which led to the discovery of bodies in a crawl space and Gacy's arrest. But now, more than 40 years after the crimes that shocked Chicago, former law enforcement officials interviewed on Mata's podcast alleges that both the smell of decomposing bodies was a myth and that the photo receipt was found in the garbage on the curb in front of Gacy's home, which constitutes public property, not inside Gacy's home. Mata argues those 2 facts are vital and that if police would have told the truth, a second search warrant would have never been issued. He added that although there is no question of Gacy's guilt, police did not do things the right way and Gacy's rights were violated. It was the right result, we all know that, but it's a slippery slope. We can't start crapping on the Constitution on a gut call, Mata said. Carl Humbert, a former Cook County Sheriff's evidence technician who was in the Gacy house during the first search, told Mata on the podcast that there was no smell of decomposing bodies. Humbert reiterated his claim in an interview with the Sun-Times. When I was in there, when it was the original Robert Piest case, I was in there serving the first search warrant. I was not aware of any overwhelming odor of decomposition, Humbert said. Decomposing bodies was not something that I was unfamiliar with, so my nose may have been differently attuned to the odors that these guys were smelling, the police from Des Plaines. One thing that I remember was that it was a very marshy, mucky smell, and I went through a few swamps in my day. For me, because I had been in swamps and I did work with decomposing bodies, my nose is a little differently attuned to different odors compared to someone who is just going in and never was in a swampy, mucky area. But I'm not about to say what somebody's interpretation was. Additionally, Humbert was responsible for evidence logs and noted that there was nothing logged about the photo receipt in his evidence logs from the searches in Gacy's home. When we as evidence technicians went into a scene, regardless of what the scene was, anything we collect gets inventoried. So anything that I collected that night would have been listed on the evidence inventory sheet and been part of my report, Humbert said. Former Des Plaines police officer Michael Albrecht and Ron Robinson also told Mata on his podcast that the photo receipt, believed to have belonged to Piest's girlfriend, was found in the garbage on the curb outside of Gacy's home, a key distinction because garbage on the curb is public property, Mata said. Citation 87 is the Des Plaines PD case files on John Wayne Gacy. This is from the part 1 of 6 file dump and on page 12 of the PDF here itself. And the date, this is December 23rd, 1978. This is a continuing report in regards to the investigation of the disappearance of Robert J. Piest, a white male, age 15, date of birth March 16th, 1963, 5'8", brown hair with a slim build. During the course of my investigation, evidence was gathered through a search warrant indicating that the missing boy, Piest, was in the residence belonging to John W. Gacy, located at 8213 West Summerdale, Morridge? I believe Morridge, Illinois. Within 48 hours, should know that. Within 48 hours after he was reported missing from Nissan Drugs at 1920 Toohey Avenue, Des Plaines. The search warrant referred to above was a search warrant executed on December 13th, 1978 at 8213 West Summerdale Avenue, Morridge, Illinois, signed by Judge Marvin J. Peters. Recovered during that search was a customer receipt number 36119 from a film developing envelope with the name and address of Nissan Pharmacy stamped on it in ink. Further investigation revealed that this receipt had last been in possession of Robert Piest immediately prior to the time he had disappeared. On December 21st, 1978, I had occasion to speak to Officer Robert Schultz, star number, or matching badge number, 218, of the Des Plaines Police Department. Officer Schultz had been a Des Plaines police officer for the past 8.5 years. He told me that on Tuesday, December 19th, 1978, at 7:30 p.m., he was at the John Gacy residence at 8213 West Summerdale, now it looks like it could be Corridge, Illinois, on surveillance assignment. At that time, John Gacy approached Officer Schultz's police vehicle and asked him if he would like to enter his residence. Officer Schultz responded in the affirmative and entered the Gacy residence via the kitchen entrance with Mr. Gacy. Once inside, Officer Schultz immediately detected an odor similar to that of a putrefied human body. Officer Schultz further indicated that during his tenure as a Des Plaines police officer, he has smelt the odor of at least 40 putrefied human bodies, and that the odor he detected in the Gacy residence smelled similar to the odor of putrefied bodies he has smelled in the past.